Welcome to Veronica Live, and I'm doing a Veronica Live kind of afterburner political roundup, and I'm here with actually a lifelong friend, Jennifer S, and you've been a host before, and what people don't know about us, Jennifer, is that many years ago, we were young lieutenants together, so welcome back to Veronica Live.
Thanks, Veronica. Yes, we were young lieutenants together. We won't say how long ago.
in Germany. So, and
yeah.
That's the funny thing. So we'll just kick it off right there because you and I are both, we were officers. I'm a retired officer. Your husband was a fighter pilot. I'm married to a fighter pilot too. And the thing about it is we've been around the military our entire life. And then we've got this new character, Tim Walz, that Kamala picked as the VP pick, and he's actually been a disaster. And you and I, we meet and we have lunch together, and I was like, oh my gosh, you have to come on. We've got to do one of these afterburner political roundups because the world needs to hear why we are so frustrated. So I just can't believe this guy. He's such a liar. I mean, he got a DUI. And for people in the military that have served, DUIs are career enders. And then his DUI, what did he say? He couldn't hear or something like that. So what are your thoughts on the DUI?
Well, I mean, the guy is an absolute abject pathological liar. I mean,
right.
There's no getting around that. I mean, if you got a DUI and you couldn't hear, well, your hearing would prevent you from being in the National Guard. So I'm very convinced it's sort of this circular non-logic, I would call it, about him. Yeah, it's like every single day there is a new lie about this dude.
Well,
I mean, I think the stolen valor is the worst of the lies, but then the IVF, the Nebraska Chamber of Commerce, some letter that he said he was a coach when he was an assistant. I mean, it's just on and on and on.
Well, so regarding the letter, so he came out and said that he received, it was on his bio apparently, that he received an award from the Nebraska Chamber of Commerce, who in turn sent out a letter and said, please remove this. You did not.
Yeah.
And I just had Fox News on, and they had a Democrat on, and guess what? He left off one word. He likes to leave out one word. He received an award from the Junior Chamber of Commerce of Nebraska. He forgot the word junior. Can you all see I'm doing quotes in the air quotes, junior. This man always leaves out one word. And so this Dem was on Fox News, and he's like, he's just so wonderful. He misspoke. Well, how many times have we heard him misspeak, Jennifer?
Yeah, I mean, he said he was, carrying guns, deploying to, wherever in the Middle East. He misspoke constantly about his, rank. I mean, I know pretty much everybody in politics, tells fibs, but this is just ridiculous.
My goodness.
He's too much. He's just kind of creepy, to be honest. I'm not going to, they're talking about him and Kamala's husband being this like sort of new kind of masculine that isn't super testosterone-y or whatever. I just find him to be unappealing. I mean,
I hate when people, because, now that I've been out there, almost 4 years now, people go after your looks when they hate your politics. So I changed my profile picture 2 days ago because my hair, I have red hair that I pay lots of money for. And people constantly were, in this picture, it was very red. So I changed the picture, which I shouldn't have done because when you're on X, Jennifer, then it takes you out of the circuit for a few days so they can approve your dumb profile picture. And I'm paying $22. I don't need you to approve my profile picture and take me out of the game. So I shouldn't have done it, but I did it because I'm always being attacked now. And so I must be over the target because that's what they go after is my hair. But this guy was such a liar. He made the command master sergeant rank in the Army. But in any case in the military, you can make rank and you're a select. And the thing was,
Right.
he didn't do the requirements that he needed to do for the rank. He had to be in, normally, a lot of times, like if you're a colonel, you have to wear the rank for 3 years. And was the same thing for this high E9 position, which he did not do. And so he retired at the lesser rank. But everything about this dude is his bio. When his wife introed him at the Democrat National Convention this week, there was an intro video. She used the command master chief.
He slipped. It was a slip of the tongue again.
Sorry, in the Air Force it's chief. So she said it again. He made a coin when he was a congressman, Jennifer. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, I did see that.
Because in the military, I was a protocol officer, and every time you do good work and say you have the Secretary of Defense come, they always coin you. So it's a coin challenge. It's like I have a ton of coins somewhere in a box in my storage unit that I pay $400 a month for. But he made a coin in Congress with the fake rank on there. I mean, this man is just a piece of work.
Yeah, I just don't understand somebody like that. I don't understand how I guess once you start getting away with lies, it snowballs into this kind of, I don't know, different person. You're just creating this persona that is not true.
Well, I think that's what the whole thing was. I've been calling it the fairy tale since Kamala took over.
Yeah.
Because it's such a fairy tale. And even this morning, because today is International Dog Day for the world, so that the whole world knows. And if you follow me on X, Veronica Talk, at Veronica Talk, or it's Veronica Live is my name on there, but you can find it at Veronica Talk. They showed a picture of Tim Walz tweeting about his dog Scout, and it was like from 4 years ago. And the first picture showed Scout was like a black lab, and today's picture showed that he was a yellow lab. So they can't even get their story straight.
Well, that's like the taco thing where, I'm a guy who doesn't like any spice.
Oh my gosh.
I like plain white man or white middle-aged man tacos, but then it turns out he won some chili contest in Minnesota at the state fair or something, and there was spicy stuff. Whatever. He's a nightmare. And he didn't just retire. Let's not forget that he left so that he didn't have to deploy with his unit. And he let down all of those young guys. So, he just has no...
I take it back full circle. Let's start back at the DUI, because that, to me, I'm done. And how in the military that you and I were in, we would have never made rank, especially the highest rank you can make for an enlisted troop, with a DUI in your record. So the man is not an example of leadership or, senior enlisted anything.
No. Honestly, it goes to show also, there's nothing wrong with being in the National Guard. That is, I've been married to 2 men now who are in the National Guard, but the National Guard is also not active duty. They act like he was, they talk about him being in it for 24 years and all this stuff, which is admirable. I'm not saying it isn't, but it's not like that was your full-time job. So maybe, that's why he got away with the DUI. I don't know, but it's all, he's just making himself out to be someone that he isn't. And that's the bottom line of the whole thing.
Well, it's the fairy tale.
Yes, there you go.
And then I took one for the team, because I literally watched all 4 days of the Democrat National Convention. My husband had to leave the room because I couldn't do it. Oh, and it was rough. Oh my gosh, Jennifer, it was rough. And then it was it was school nights, and what do? I do a talk show. Okay, it's a school night on a talk show. for a talk show host. But, I'm going, oh my gosh, I could barely make it. And then the first night was, we're waiting for Biden, President Biden. So they kicked this dude to the curb, and then guess who gets to speak late? And I think he started, was it like 11 o'clock at night on the East Coast? It was like some freaking late time, and I'm Central, and I was dying an hour earlier. I'm surprised he even made it through that, because that's like past his bedtime, big time, right? I think he was pissed because Nancy Pelosi was there. I love Joe, in the audience, and I'm like, as she's like pulling the dagger out of his back, Jennifer.
Yeah, she's a piece of work too. Ugh.
But it was literally, so that night was extremely painful, and he did okay with his speech. Only like one time he like majorly flubbed up, and then of course his wife got to speak too, that, he's just such a great guy. And I actually liked her outfit. I love pleather, and she was wearing like this kind of purplish pleather dress. So she came out looking amazing. But
I read somebody thought it looked like a trash bag, but whatever.
Well, if you like pleather, it was actually, she does have great clothes, I have to say. She did look very pretty. But oh my gosh, so he gives the speech, and it's way past, literally not just his bedtime, but everybody else, so nobody on the East Coast saw it. I mean,
right. I think that was by design.
It was by the design. Apparently they put more people in there. And one of the takeaways from the 4 days of torture was that Kamala wanted to be the only, primetime person in primetime, and she didn't want anybody else to be in primetime. So
not even Beyonce, who she kept saying was going to be there.
Which, yeah. All right, we'll jump ahead. So the fourth day, we're waiting for Kamala. We're trying to give you people that missed all of this. And granted, I watched it for 4 days. So the fourth day, now that I'm an exaholic, and they kept going, Beyonce showing up, Beyonce, Taylor Swift showing up. And then it was like, oh my gosh, George Bush is showing up. And I was like, what the hell? George Bush, like X went crazy. I'm like, George Bush, he better never put his ass out there, because there were people that showed up on the other side. That Adam, what's his name? What's his name?
Oh my God.
The one who's his name? He pretends
the
to
one
be a
who's hooking up with
Republican.
some Chinese spy. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, whatever.
Adam Kinzinger.
Kissinger, yeah, something like that.
But he was that's you're talking about the Dem. That's from California that hooked up with Fang. No, Adam Kissinger is an American politician that was a Republican. And so he's been a freaking rhino. So he's one of the BSers that showed up and spoke. And then the other person that showed up and spoke was the lieutenant governor of Georgia, that he is not voting for. He was not going to vote for Trump at all. I mean, there was Republicans that I posted on X. Your ass better be at your supervisor of elections office the next day. And you're turning in your Republican card, because it was just the hatred of Trump. It was awful.
Yeah. I have to apologize. It was Eric Swall, what's his name, that I was thinking of, not Adam. Sorry. I don't want to accuse anyone of sleeping with anybody. I can't keep all these people straight.
Well, because they all have one thing in common, is they're awful.
Yeah.
They're just awful.
Thank you. Amen, sister.
Well, and then there was I want to talk about some of the big dogs that came out to speak. And so we had Michelle Obama in her $3,000 outfit came out, and pretty much she was attacked after the speech, because here's a woman with 4 mansions wearing her fancy designer outfit, and pretty much belittled the working class. And these people are so entitled now, Well,
I'm talking about her mom saying that she didn't trust people who took too much or made too much or what. Like, what, honey? Are you telling us that from your
let's go through what the woman has. She has a chef.
Yeah.
Well, she had a chef. She has security. She has designer clothes. You know,
she lives in the Hamptons or wherever the heck.
Yeah. Martha's Vineyard. They have a house in Hawaii,
Martha's
one in
Vineyard,
D.C.,
yeah,
and where's the fourth house? There's a fourth house somewhere. Oh, Chicago. So
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I kind of called it the "let them eat cake" speech because she is so up there. This is why I knew she would never, you know, all along for the last few months we kept hearing, oh my gosh, it's going to be Michelle Obama. It's going to save America.
Yeah, no, that would actually require service, and that's not her thing.
No,
yeah,
she
is the most bitter woman ever.
Still.
Yeah. Honey, you have made, and I don't even know how you made all this money. You know, your husband was president for 8 years, and still, you just you can barely crack a smile. Oh,
well, and that goes
terrible.
hand in hand with Oprah, who showed up in her beautiful purple outfit.
Oh yeah, whining about
another billionaire woman. You know, and her speech was how, again, she was sexually harassed, and you know the system was against her. Yet here she is on stage in her designer outfit, and
can I say something about? Yeah, and can I say something about Oprah? She came up, long ago in the 80s, where, I mean, that was very unusual for someone, you know, a Black woman to come up like that and, I mean, achieve the success that she achieved without all this sort of DEI and, you know, that's something to be admired. But she just dwells on all the negative about it.
Well,
she's like a trailblazer, and she's just got to be so negative.
These are billionaire people, because I'm telling you, the Obamas, they're like at 850. They're like right there. So I call them a billionaire duo too. They've got everything.
Yeah.
They've got everything. Oh my gosh, I would love somebody to like pack my suitcase when I go on a trip. That I'm always like suicidal, Jennifer, and I've been doing it my whole life. This is somebody that has somebody that can pack her suitcase. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you hate the world, and the world has given you nothing. And they've all gone to Ivy Leagues, because that was the other point. Was darling VP candidate Tim Walz, you know, spoke about, oh my, J.D. Vance went to Yale. None of my high schoolers of 24 from Nebraska did. What is wrong with that? Because people that know his story, which we've all learned, I mean, he came from poverty. His mom was a druggie. He had nothing. And to know that he was able to join the military, use the GI Bill, eventually go to Yale, that's a success story. And
right.
So he was, I don't know,
Well,
JD was slammed
you know,
too.
We all know people like that, Tim Walz, that kind of like, you know, they are jealous of success, I guess.
Yes.
You know,
no,
I
exactly.
mean, nobody in your class went to Ivy Leagues. Well, then you suck as a teacher. Like, you know, I mean, he acts like JD Walz was supposed to just stay in Appalachia, not make anything of himself, and, you know, just not get himself out of those circumstances. I don't understand. He's again, another terrible, terrible thing that he is.
Well, and that is so true, because how many times are people jealous of other people in life? I mean, you and I are Christian women. I'm always grateful and thankful if somebody, you know, has made it and made it, you know, because I live a cush life. I've worked hard. I still work hard, but I don't want for anything. And, you know, I don't know. And I know you're the same. And our, you know, we've been blessed with wonderful, smart children that have taken the world on by storm as well. And why don't you want that for people? You know? Well,
and the thing, like when Clinton was coming up and he had like a single mom and he, you know, raised himself up by his bootstraps and went to like, I don't know, Oxford and wherever the heck he went.
Yeah.
That was great. That was admirable. That was wonderful. J.D. Vance does it, and, you know, he's abandoning his people. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well, and then we also, the other folks that, the darling Clintons got to speak. I don't even know what the hell was that day. Was that day 3? It's all a blur to me.
I know. I don't know how you watched all of that. What a nightmare.
I don't know. Because, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Live to tell the tale.
had I been doing like drinking shots every time they said Trump, I
Oh,
was like, oh my gosh. So I have to say Hillary gave, quite a speech. She was the best speaker out of the Obamas and the Clintons, I have to say. And she looked lovely. And so on X, they're like,
really?
Hillary's had a
Wow.
facelift. And then the whole time,
Maybe.
she's thinking the whole time, they should have picked me. But
she's another bitter one, but whatever. She probably had a few drinks before she went out there.
Oh my gosh. And then
Sorry.
So her speech was the best. And then Obama talked about Trump's manhood at one point. So that's the thing, is these people don't even have class. They don't even have class.
Right.
And Clinton kept saying, "Oh, this is probably my last time speaking," and it was so bad it needed to be his last time speaking. So that was painful as well. But I don't know. They had the video before Walz came out, and he was such a great guy. His wife, just this hominess, and then when he was in the high school, he decided he needed to start the LGBTQ club, and he was the advisor for that.
Like I said, creepy.
Which I don't care if you're gay. I don't. But it was funny.
I don't either.
His wife was like, "Oh, well, we had to do that. It was good because he was the football coach doing it. So there's something to this man, because after when they all ended up on stage." Like his son is special needs, and so that was a moving moment because his son was screaming, "That's my dad! That's my dad!" But then, so that was very moving, and people went after his son because they didn't realize he was special needs, but you kind of could see that he was. And then there's that clip. I know you've seen it. They're all on stage, and he like yanks his son's arm, and I'm like, "What is that all about, dude?" And people are like, "There's something up with this guy." And I will say his speech, out of all of the speeches, he had the most riveting speech as a speech giver, one that was giving.
Yeah, I have heard that.
His speech, and it was totally the coach. And that's the whole thing. They're trying to make him out as this loving dad who's a coach, who was in the military.
Right.
And in his video, I was actually shocked about this. They show him shooting a rifle. He's duck hunting, and he shoots the duck, and the duck falls out of the air. And I was like, oh my gosh, like all of the left went, stop breathing for a minute. So they're trying to show that, he's okay. And that was the thing about both his speech and her speech. There's always that gun control, somebody, one of my former guests, was messaging me during the speech when Kamala spoke, and he was like, "Oh, I wanted my children to see history," but then the whole gun thing was so scary that children watching were scared to death that they were going to go to school tomorrow and somebody was going to shoot them in high school. That's how strong these speeches were, anti-gun, and it's just there. It's always all of those things.
Yeah, the video didn't show him talking about how communism or socialism is just sharing everybody's stuff or something like that.
Yeah, that's that one. There is a clip of him out there, some socialist little quote he has. No, and then I think the other thing that hurt my heart the most, and you and I are both. I'm trying to be as strong a Catholic woman as you are. I'm trying really hard.
I'm not. You need to stop saying that. We're all trying. That's all we can do.
Well, the joke is that, church is really a hospital full of sinners. And so I was at the hospital full of sinners. Actually, I sat next to you in church.
Yeah,
by accident,
we did.
which is so funny. That's how much I love you. I sat next to you in church by accident.
Thank you.
But what hurt me the most, and I'm sure this hurt you too, was every single speech brought up that abortion is health care, and these Democrats had a Planned Parenthood. It looked like a food truck pulled up there, and the first day they did supposedly killed 25. They murdered 25 babies. They aborted, and then they were so proud of it, Jennifer. They were so proud of it.
Yeah, it's so.
That's who I prayed for, was the unborn. I've been praying since I've heard that.
It's so disturbing that they are obsessed with being able to kill their own children. I do not understand that. Either they want to kill their kids, or they want to change the sex of their kids. I mean, or they want to let their kids see pornographic material in their schools. Like, I just don't get it. It's horrific.
Well, and that was the other thing that they kept bringing up was, and that was like Governor Shapiro that got looked over, which he probably would have been a better choice than darling Coach Walz, because he was Jewish. He was a Jew, so they couldn't choose him because of the Hamas crazy people.
I mean, that's crazy.
But he brought up, so this is how I look at the whole 4 nights. It was Orange Bad Man every single speech, and let's kill babies every single speech. And then another third point that was in a lot of speeches, it was about how Republicans are taking books away from children. And I know what these books are because I've seen these books.
Right.
From Moms for Liberty. And these books they're pornographic. And why does a kid in kindergarten need to know about how to have trans sex or whatever it is that you all do?
I agree. I don't even think like a high school, like it just shouldn't be it doesn't need to be in the school library. It doesn't need to be there. If you want your kid to see that stuff, they can go buy it. Or, I mean, I don't even want it in the public library, but I mean, I guess if it's there, that's different. But in a school library, come on. Terrible.
Well, everybody was saying it was the one actress from The Office. What's her name? She's Indian. She was like, "Oh, they want to take the
Mindy.
books." Yes, they want to take the books, and I don't know what's wrong with these people. I really felt like there was nobody wants to talk about God. They were trying to wrap themselves a little bit around the American flag, a little bit. They had the Dixie Chicks come out and sing. Well,
that's why Bush didn't show up, because the Dixie Chicks were there.
Wait, who didn't show up? When I missed it.
That's why George Bush didn't show up, because the Dixie Chicks were there.
I swear to you, that was all over X, and I was like, what the hell? And I think it was so funny because, before that day before Kamala spoke, it was like, oh my gosh, Beyonce. And then the whole time they're playing Freedom, Beyonce song. So I'm going, she's showing up. And then when I saw the Taylor Swift that we know, because on X, the Taylor Swift crowd went crazy because now you can do all this fun AI stuff. So they were making Taylor Swift memes that said Taylor for Trump, and the left was losing it. But fast forward, Kamala comes to give her speech, which I have a copy of it, so we'll have to talk about some of these highlights. And there was no damn Beyonce. And so later that night, I always watch Communist News Network, and one of the Dems was like, well, nobody lied. We just didn't want, anybody having more star power than Kamala. But it was a lie. They definitely pushed the narrative that Beyonce was coming to fill the arena, Jennifer.
Right. No, I agree with that. And the funny thing about her response to it all was it wasn't like, oh, I really would have wanted to be there. It just didn't work with my schedule. She said, I wasn't ever going to be there. I wasn't scheduled to be there, And
Taylor Swift also had to come out with a statement too. So what a ploy. That was brilliant. That literally was brilliant, which, oh, by the way, breaking news on my phone here, Tulsi Gabbard has just come out and fully endorsed Trump, which, we know she was on Trump's team because she's been trying to prep him. But that's breaking news right now. But no, I'm looking through this speech and it's all so much anti-Trump in here that, just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails, how he would use the immense powers of the presidency of the United States not to improve your life, not to strengthen our national security, but to serve the only client he's ever had, himself. And then they started with the Project 2025 crap, which that's not even a Trump thing that they're pushing, saying that that's all his agenda, which there's things in there I like, don't get me wrong, but don't say that it's a Trump thing when it's not.
Right. Well, what I would say to all of that, and I know we'll get to this, but one of my favorite quotes in the RFK Jr. speech that he made, on Friday or whenever it was, he said, "Who needs a policy when you have Trump to hate?" And that was his criticism of the Democrats. Right. And the convention completely reflected that, I think they said Trump 147 times in the first night or something crazy like that. So it's not surprising that all Kamala did was just, Trump bash.
Yeah. And how great the economy is, and and then of course she had to, this was great. This was out of her speech that Trump threatened to abandon NATO. He encouraged Putin to invade our allies. Said Russia could, quote, do whatever the hell they want, and then 5 days later, Russia attacked the Ukraine, and so. So Russia caused this. Which I want to. Today is the third anniversary of Abbey Gate, and so Biden gave his speech, flew off to California, I think, to talk to the judges that are going to be handling Hunter's case, to try to massage that. Then was supposed to come back to Delaware, and he's extended his frickin' vacation now. So the man is continually on vacation. And today is the third anniversary of Abbey Gate, when we pulled out of Afghanistan, and they had the suicide bomber in Afghanistan, and 13 service members were killed. And so guess where? Did you see this today? Trump was at Arlington Cemetery laying a wreath with some of the family members. And then, oh my gosh, this one made me cry. It was on X. He was at a tombstone of one of them that was killed, and the family couldn't make it, and he was on the phone talking to them. I was like crying looking at this. So why does he get it right? And who I don't even know where the hell Biden is, and where is Kamala today? And because they were hiding from this Afghanistan withdrawal, but you can't even ever honor the families. Give me a freaking break. Right.
I mean, they claim that Trump is doing that for show or whatever, but at least he's doing it. Where are you? You're the president. You're the vice president. You're responsible for all of this. Where are you? It's just another example of how terrible they are. The poor leadership.
Well, so in her speech, she talks about Gaza, and that President Biden and I are working around the clock because now is the time to get a hostage deal and a ceasefire. And then she said, "Let me be clear. I will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself." And then she continues on in the speech, and she says, "At the same time, what has happened in Gaza over the past 10 months is devastating, about how all of their innocent lives have, been lost there too." And that she wants to put an end to this war. And do you feel like they've been working hard to put an end to this war? I saw that General C.Q. Brown, the new Air Force, Joint Chief of Staff, flew over to go see Netanyahu to talk this weekend. I just think they want him to end it, and you can't just end these things. These people, they just this weekend too. Right. Israeli did a preventative strike because they knew that the bad guys were going to try to, take them out, as they got 1,000 rockets shot over their country. But thank God they were able to take out a bunch of these bad fighters in Lebanon, I think it was.
Yeah. I don't think this administration is trying hard to do anything other than, let as many people over the border as possible, let inflation go, crazy, and let everybody kill their babies. Other than that, whatever, everybody.
Well, back to abortion, because you and I are huge Catholic women. I don't like abortion ever. I know Trump, and that's the funny thing. Trump does have exceptions. The life of the
right.
mother, and then rape and incest. He has exceptions, but they're pretending like he has no exceptions.
Right.
You know, that's the thing. They're pretending like he has no exceptions. But I don't understand abortion anymore, because the technology that we have is so incredible with the ultrasounds. And I don't know, I see these things pop up on X, and one was this cute little baby and his arms are up in the air, and they had a picture of him in the womb, and guess what? His arms are exactly the same. He was like that in the womb, like he was, after being born. So when are we going to wake up that this is killing our offspring, and that this is a holocaust of 65 million babies? I think the number is at this point.
Well, I think that's the thing, that this country is unable to have an honest conversation about what abortion is. I mean, Democrats call it pro-healthcare, whatever, healthcare. Yeah. No, you are killing a human being for your own convenience. That's what it is. And I understand exceptions for rape and incest and all of that, but I'm not allowed to then come back with, well, maybe two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
My point is that you cannot have an honest conversation about what that actually is. And until we're able to do that, I don't think anything's going to change. I mean, young women, 18 to 20, it's being crammed into their brains, oh my gosh, if you get pregnant, you have to be able to kill your baby. Who goes around thinking that all the time?
There's the Plan B commercials. When I see them, I literally cringe. They act like it's just popping a vitamin. They're doing what you're doing, Mm-hmm. And maybe it's because we've lost our moral compass, and we just don't have morality in God and in our life. And
we have made ourselves God is the problem. I mean,
that's good.
You need to have everything. I can't be inconvenienced in any way. I have this plan for my life. It can't be, I can have no inconvenience. It can't be changed. And, a baby will definitely change it. And as a woman, it's not fair that I have to have a baby, and Amanda, all of this stuff. I think feminism and lack of morality have created this.
Like last week on X, this person's like, well, what have you done? Have you adopted any? They're pushing back that I have to save the world. I mean, I have done stuff. I've worked with this foster care agency and helped raise thousands and thousands. I did that for several years because I don't, some of us, what your calling is. I don't know.
Right.
Could I have 20 children? I was trying to raise my children, but I wanted to help other children in need. And I did that for several years, but I know plenty of people that would have adopted. Plenty. So this is the crap they dole back at you. Oh, well, you didn't do anything. So because I don't think abortion's right, I'm wrong.
There's actually a lot of people that don't have kids and can't have kids that would adopt babies. Yeah. I mean, that's just such a fallacy that nobody would be around to adopt the babies. There just aren't babies to adopt, frankly, because they're all getting aborted. And maybe these people could actually raise their baby. Now, I don't know about, incest. I get all of that. Although I have a friend who was the product of rape. Her mom raised her. She's a wonderful woman, and she would not be here if her mom had gotten an abortion. Yeah,
Well, and that's the thing. When you hear these stories, when I had a national famous person, Kathy Barnett, on, she told that story too, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so right, and you're right. Two wrongs don't make a right, and I just don't know. Having been blessed to have two children in life, I clearly knew that this was a human. And I feel like abortion is like a birth control, because I've read the stat, like in Russia, every 6 babies are aborted. The normal woman has 6 abortions because it is their their birth control. And
right.
We have too much birth control now. We know how babies are made. I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired.
Well, and nobody talks about the mental anguish and the crushing of a soul that happens to the woman who gets an abortion.
Well, it was funny
that
because
happens.
I follow a guy on X, and he wrote, "Can somebody talk about like what it's like to have an abortion and how you feel after?" And oh my gosh, the thread was so powerful. I had one, biggest regret ever. Man wrote, "My friend had one 25 years ago. I still feel the pain too. The husband he had been the boyfriend. I never knew she did this. I ache." And this was like 20 years ago. So no, it hurts everybody.
One of the people, my sister and I have gone to a number of the Right to Life marches in D.C. And one of the groups of people that I admire the most are the women that are carrying signs that say, "I regret my abortion." I mean, for them to be able to come and, hold up that sign, admit that they had an abortion, I'm sure they were coerced or forced or, whatever.
Well, and to
be able to say that it is not right and it's hurtful and it will hurt you, there's regret that you can't ever, get over. These people that are screaming their abortions and how great it is, I just cannot believe that deep down inside they don't feel differently.
I can't believe that, because you've snuffed out a life
forever.
You're not, and that was the funny thing, because even second gentleman Doug Emmerhoff, however you say his name, he got a warm up video too, and oh my gosh, and Megyn Kelly slammed it, because it shows him with his shirt off, and then the Washington Post has an op-ed that he's a modern woman's dream man, and then it showed him
he's in the Tim Walz category.
Raising the two, I guess because we've been married to stud fighter pilots, that we know dream men that are real alpha men. But it showed him with the two kids, and his son was narrating this the whole time. So his son recently got married. And Megyn Kelly said, "Oh, I wonder what the nanny's saying with the child that you aborted."
Yeah, exactly.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. So
where's the nanny's kid?
These people are disgusting. And then his daughter. I hate to go after people's looks, because they always go after my red hair, and hate me so much on X and my platforms. But his daughter has profited and become kind of like a model or something because she's horrific.
Of her stepmom. So give me a break. I feel like you can comment.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's just the class of the families. Because even Waltz's daughter, who's normal, has tattoos, and the second gentleman, what's her name, Ella or M or something, she wore a suit one day. So I Googled it. The suit jacket, it was horrific, by the way, plaid, horrific. It was like $3,500, I think, for this ugly jacket. And she doesn't shave her armpits. She wears no makeup. She wears these horrific glasses. She's trying to be ugly. And so on X, I commented, because people were like, "Isn't she ugly?" And I just wrote, I said, I would love to give her a makeover. I could so help her, because her real mother is actually very pretty. But I think sometimes people are trying with their liberalism and their veganism and don't shaveism. They like to look ugly.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like they're making their outside look like what's on their inside,
Ooh, that's a good analogy. That's a really good analogy.
How they feel.
Yeah,
inside.
I think you're right, because I've met a lot of these people, and there's some sort of trauma. A lot of times it is divorce, and I think that's what it is. I think you're right on that one, actually. Because she could be a pretty girl, but she chooses to be ugly. She chooses to be ugly, and so that's the thing. The contrast of the families are just night and day, because these families they're creepy. They're creepy, and then for the story to come out that he had an affair and impregnated a nanny, oh my gosh! And then when Kamala spoke, Thursday night, she was like, "Oh, Dougie, it's our 10th anniversary," and I was like, "Ugh." They were definitely made for each other. I'm telling you.
Oh gosh, I can. Can you imagine her sitting across from like a Putin or something? My gosh, what?
No.
Please, America, come on.
No, and that's the thing.
They act like she's the next coming of like Margaret Thatcher or something.
No.
She is not. She
No.
is horrific. She can't speak. She has no policies unless she's taken them from Trump. I mean,
well, that's the thing. Yeah, the taxing, no tax on tips, stole that one. Now the child care credit stole that one. It's just this
right.
long litany of a fairy tale, and then all of this on X the last 2 days. Oh, she wants to debate Trump. That is crock. And then she's up like 47 to 45%. They're pushing this poll saying that she's leading, and I just don't believe it, because now we need to
I don't think I believe that either.
Because Friday there was rumblings all week that RFK Jr. was going to join the Trump team, and I kept going, oh my gosh, I hope he does it Thursday before his speech. I hope. And then he didn't do it till Friday, but it worked out way better, because it took the wind out of the DNC sails big time. I wrote on X, I go, the honeymoon's over. We're getting a divorce, because it was a crushing blow to the 4 days of Orange Man Bad and Let's Kill Babies. And that was the funny thing. I wrote all weekend on X that I think RFK Jr. is going to be history's going to reflect back that he was the man that saved America. I can't believe a Democrat. If that's the thing, if I had a little crystal ball 20 years ago and you would have played that out for me, that he would give this speech, because in his speech, he wrote, "As you know, I left the party in October because it has departed dramatically from the core values I grew up with. It has become the party of war, censorship, corruption, big pharma, big tech, big AG, and big money." Could you? I'm still in shock that he did it, and I'm telling you, he is the one. If Trump wins, it is RFK Jr. that has saved America by stepping up to partner with us, because he was slapped down by the Dems. They're truly commies. They're truly commies.
No, I agree. I felt that speech to me was something that's going to go down through the ages. I mean, I've never heard a political speech like that. And it was so heartfelt. He's a smart guy, too. It was galvanizing, and it called everybody out on their what. I mean, it called everyone out. And you could see how it pained him he really reflected. He talked about it and prayed. He talked about his family and how they were very uncomfortable with it, but he was really trying to do the right thing. And when he talked about how we have to, care about our children more than we hate each other, I mean, that was towards the end of the speech. I was like, there's something that's going to happen here. There's some movement that's got to come out of this. Because I thought it was incredible.
No, and I was watching the speech live, and I was so pissed because I had it on CNN, and Fox News wasn't carrying it fully. And as soon as he started slamming CNN and Kamala, they broke away. They're like, and I have the clip on my X. They broke away.
They did exactly. They proved his point about the censorship.
And I love Boris Sanchez. He's the cute Latino on CNN. And he's like, oh, we got to break away, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what the? Because I think I was texting you. I was so pissed. And then, damn right, Gino had it live. So I was trying to find it, but people were going to breaks. And I was like, this is not the speech that you break away from,
Yeah.
It was not the speech.
Yeah.
But it was about... free speech was like his number one thing, because he's been bogged down with lawyers and getting signatures, and then no debating, and then Ukraine and the children. Those were his three items. It's literally shocking. And then, of course, the poor man, has been thrown under the bus because then his dumb family, who had already run to when Biden was running, and we support President Biden. You know, they were supporting Dementia Joe, and then they put out their little statement about how this is so bad. And then what was really funny was his cute nephew of Caroline Schlossenberg. He wrote that RFK Jr. was, you know, he could be bought, and I love. Did you see that tweet? And then RFK Jr. just wrote "F you" back to him. It is like the ultimate classic. Like, yeah, F you, buddy. And he actually spelled out the word. So, which I don't do because I end up in X jail if I actually spell things the way it's supposed to be. So,
well, what I find amazing is, I mean, we can review a lot of things throughout history that the Kennedys have done that are horrific and horrible, you know, to include, leaving a poor woman in a car, to drown.
Yeah.
I mean, throwing Marilyn and Monroe, around with each other. I mean, a sister was lobotomized by Joe Kennedy, all of this stuff. But this is the thing. This is the thing that's the most horrific thing of all. I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. These people, would you do that to your family? Call them out on X like that and basically kind of disown them? I mean, it's terrible. He's trying to do the right thing.
Well, and then, of course, today it says that he was a cocaine drug dealer. And then I saw one story that said he's had like 57 affairs. But then what was so moving was fast forward to Saturday night. There was, I guess it was Saturday. Maybe it was Friday night. I can't remember what night it was. But when Trump was in Arizona and he invited RFK Jr. onto the stage, and it shows it. The video footage shows RFK walking out on stage to meet Trump. And
I think that was Friday night.
I had goosebumps.
Yeah, I saw that.
I had goosebumps.
Yeah, he was completely welcomed by that crowd.
And that has been what's been really fun is that he has converted a lot of people, because I've seen it on X saying, "Oh my gosh, we've been so welcomed by the Trump family." So it's been incredible. I'm telling you. I don't know. I'm just so grateful. And yesterday I actually prayed in Mass. I prayed for those babies. I'm praying every day for our nation. But I prayed to God saying, thank you for giving us RFK Jr. to step up. Because I think that's
agree.
huge, Jennifer.
I do too. Well, and I just want to say, part of why I was just kind of amazed by his speech is he mentioned, because in the last part of the speech, he talked about our health and, how screwed up our healthcare system is, and our food and our, all that stuff. But he mentioned a video, a Tucker Carlson interview that happened last week with Casey and Callie Means. And they're really on like the front lines of just all this sort of incestuous relationships that, Big Pharma has with tech, has with Agra, that has with, all of these different in healthcare. And I mean, he is the guy that could really do something about all of that stuff. It was like, I encourage anybody to go and watch that video. I mean, it's a couple hours, but it is so informative. And it just talks about how, like 60% of the commercials on, the news, on all the news channels are Big Pharma. And so they basically fund, pharma. They basically fund the news media, YouTube. And it talks about like the origins of kind of the ultra processed food industry, and how it happened in like the late 80s when the Surgeon General finally called out, tobacco and how cigarettes were harming people. All these cigarette companies bought a bunch of food companies and brought all their scientists with them, who the scientists, into the cigarette companies who figured out how to make nicotine, tobacco addictive, then came to the food industry and started figuring out how to make food addictive. Because if you can keep Americans eating crappy food and being sick, then the healthcare industry gets to treat you. And people have all these chronic conditions. If you have a chronic condition, then you are in the healthcare system for good, being given pills, which helps big pharma. It's just a really interesting look at what's going on and how sick we are as Americans, because it really is kind of only happening here. And, like Ozempic, that's a big thing that's coming out where they're even wanting to give 6-year-olds Ozempic.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the last thing we need to be giving people is Ozempic. The company that makes Ozempic, I think it's a Danish company, their doctors don't tell their citizens to take Ozempic. Their doctors tell them to, diet, exercise, all these other things.
Go to the gym.
Yes.
Which I've been going to the gym, and then I can't move. So Ozempic could be easier. But I did see an article saying that in the future.
No, it isn't. It makes you paralyzes your stomach.
Right. Well, I did see a story that 20% of the people in America are going to be on Ozempic from now on out. And again, it comes down to billions of dollars.
Right.
So
yes. Yes.
So
yes.
What are your takeaways from this week? I honestly bow down to RFK Jr. And then today I've been hearing that the lead of the Green Party, this woman, I can't think of her name, they always take 1 to 2% of the vote, are going to be joining Trump. And because thank you, Jesus. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, how are we going to win? I'm still petrified that there's going to be some sort of steal of this. And I know like Arizona and some other places are aggressively cleaning up their ballots, their a ballot roll for voting. But I'm so scared. And then SCOTUS came out and said that in Arizona, if you have to show that you're an American citizen when you register to vote the first time. But so how many are on the ballot already that we don't know?
Right.
Moving forward,
yeah.
How about let's make this retroactive? And tying in with that, there's a story too out today, and I heard it yesterday as well, that like in Boston, there's not enough buses to transfer American kids to the school because they're all taking illegals to the school. So here the schools are full of illegals, and then parents don't even have a damn bus. And working class parents, they don't have time. Sometimes their shift work have to be there 6 or 7. They don't have time to get a kid to school. And this is happening to American children.
Well, that's the thing. You hear about that, and I'm like, how is this race even close? How is it even close?
I don't know. I don't know. And they're saying that
that's what I don't understand.
Women, it's like suburban mom women are only going to vote for Kamala, and they're all married with children, and that's all they care about is abortion. I was listening to Clay Travis, and he said that,
I heard, was it today?
Yes,
it today?
And he said he's
he's
become a one-issue guy, and it's free speech. And when you think about free speech, because they just arrested that Russian guy this weekend who landed in Paris,
right?
From Telegraph, which is like an X, and everybody's like, Elon, please don't fly, out of the country.
Right.
Free speech is so important. And I spent 9 days in Europe, and I couldn't even listen to shows I wanted to listen to because they had it in lockdown mode in the UK. And, now they're arresting people in the UK. I mean,
that's scared. Where we're going if, I know. I mean, that's where we're going if these people get, elected into office. But, I mean, those suburban women that you were talking about, I really hope that like an RFK Jr. can appeal to them. I mean, you already have children. You want them healthy. Women, unfortunately, all they do, like Clay was talking about, it's all emotion for them. It's not like logical, critical thinking. So hopefully, that kind of thing for the children, appeals to them. I don't know what I think about it. I feel like it's this complete roller coaster where I feel like, really good. And then like today I was looking at the betting odds and then it looked bad. I mean, in the end, I mean, you think about like, oh my gosh, we have to overcome the media. Oh my gosh, we have to overcome the cheating. All right, and you're like, this is America. This is supposed to be free, fair elections, and we have to consider all these things. It's insane. It is scary. It is scary, but I mean, I don't know. If the citizens vote for the other thing, then I guess that's where we are,
Oh my gosh, please no. I don't know.
I know.
I felt like the tide changed on Friday when he joined the Trump team, and all week I was praying he was going to join our team. So we can't go forward with all of this stuff, and then of course we didn't even talk about, and we'll have to get back into it again when I have you back, but Walz with the whole gender garbage and children
my gosh,
able to have surgery in the boys' rooms.
No.
I mean, this is not okay. It's not normal. And then like Oprah and Kamala, love who you want to love. Love who you want to love. I don't care. But leave the children out of it and make sure they're 18 when any real decisions happen, So,
I agree.
What have we missed? Thank you, RFK Jr.
I know.
I hope everything. And I listened to a live show on Sunday nights, and the guest was saying that, of course, Iran, which we know wants Trump dead and might try to use a drone to kill him at a rally. So I feel like we're not I'm not a conspiracy theorist person, but nobody wants Trump to win on the other side.
No, they don't.
We've had the assassination and we still have very few details. And how did some nerdy 20-year-old pull off this event, which today there's a story about his father, that they're talking to his father that he might be involved. And they show a picture of the poor guy and he's like 400 pounds with man boobs and does not look like a winner.
Well, I do think that I always kind of wonder if, RFK Jr. after Trump was shot, that was kind of like the final straw for him, where he was like, oh my gosh, they're trying to do to him what they did to my uncle and my dad. I'll be a conspiracy theorist. I don't think, I think there's no way, like you said, that nerdy kid was, solely behind all of that.
I just don't buy it, and then five agents now have been put on leave, and then we've got phones. I think Belgium, he's had some encrypted phones from a couple of countries that is really weird too.
Mm-hmm.
But this, I mean, the whole thing's scary. I hope there's more details that come out. And but anyways, just to wrap, I took it for the team. 4 nights at the DNC. Maybe that'll lead me to sainthood, because that was doing good work for others. Jennifer.
You live to tell the tale. Good job.
Well, it's been great. This is Jennifer S. has joined me. We were lieutenants together back in the day in Germany, and strong women of faith, and we're fighting the fight for our nation, and it comes down to voting for Trump. And if not, I'm scared to death. Any final thoughts, Jennifer?
Just gotta trust in God's plan. I mean, we've kind of gotten to the point. We've gotten to the point where that's about all you can do.
That's all you can do. I'm strapped on the roller coaster, God's plan, and we want to win it in November. But it's been a pleasure having you on Veronica Live, and I'm on every social media platform known to man, and my X check mark has been removed because I changed my picture. Which, damn it, I shouldn't have done that this week. But I'll be. I'm still on there, but they kind of limit how far you go, because this week I've been on almost 500,000 feeds, so I'm reaching 5 million. We're close to it, and I'm a warrior, so I've got my sword pulled out, and I'm trying to slay these dragons. So be sure to
you go, girl.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining Veronica Live, and we'll be back.
Thanks. You.